Hey, Dabo for Dabo's Tackle World here at the Gold Coast for this week's fishing report for in the Broadwater and jumping pin for the 31st of July and the 1st of August. Okay, let's start at the jump pin area. Two things really going off at the moment, and that is Flathead and Taylor. Hits the Taylor were caught most of this week, but really big time yesterday and the day before, fishing just on the bottom end of North Estuary, more or less in front of where the entrance is to adjacent to Swan Bay entrance in the channel, and guys are catching heaps of tail. The birds were just thick there. It didn't matter if you cast metal lures like this type of thing here, like that type of thing, the llama lure, or if you were casting bigger things like this type of thing here. It didn't matter. The tailor were just all over it, and they were sort of in that 40 to 50 centimetre range, and the numbers were well exceeding the bag limit if you want to catch as many as that. And they were there for hours. So from the bottom of the tide and the running tide, once the tide started running, they really started coming on, as far as I know. You will also get them probably this next couple of days when you get sort of high tide really early morning and it's just starting to run out along the edge of Crusoe, on the northern edge of Crusoe, all the way along Tank Bank and the deep channel edge of it, down to the point, which is the most northeastern corner of Crusoe Island. There should be birds working along that sort of current line running out, and definitely troll little hard bodies there or cast your metals. Definitely worth a go. Give that a go. Here's the tail also on the beach on South Estuary. Guys, been going there because hasn't been much swell. Just got to be careful, guys. Know what you're doing. But if you've got a boat or jet ski, you want to go in there and have a bit of a play. Obviously, with some experience in waves, casting this type of thing here. These are Jackson lures. They're a product from Japan. They're extremely good. They weigh about 42 grams, so you get a monster cast on them, and they are really good and worth a shot. As are many other type of lures. The surf glides, which are also Jackson product, are really good. X-wraps are really good. This type of thing here. And there's lots of different lures that work really well, but you want something that's got a bit of weight to it and a little bit of an action to it. Obviously metals are really good as well, as we spoke about earlier, and that's casting in the gutters in the surf from the boat back into the surf, but you can only do that when the waves are less than a metre, like half a metre, so you've got some idea about your safety and where the waves are breaking and where they're not breaking. Okay. The other thing that's been happening is obviously tail on the beach. So on the beach side, you cast metals and the same lures, and the surf glides and whatever else, you'll catch good tailor off the beach as well. Plenty of whiting on the beaches as well, and still a few good flatties as well. Okay. Talking about flatties, the flatties in the jumping area have been really good as well. This weekend, you've got sort of high tide around, I think it's 3 or 4 in the morning, which is quite early, but the first 2 hours of the run out will be happening just a bit after that, and definitely worth a go. Sort of low tide around about 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'll be fishing during that run out tide from daylight on, sort of the edges of the banks around Tippers Channel, up towards Jacob's Well, around Pandanus Island, and maybe at the back of Russell, sort of heading up the eastern side of Russell Island as well. And as the tide gets to the bottom, I'd be perhaps trolling on the edge of the banks before that tide starts to flow again. Cover a bit of ground, try and work out where they're stacked up, and then once the tide starts running in, you then go back there for your plastics and nail them. Okay. Down towards the Broadwater end of town, it's been quite good fishing as well. There's been a lot of whiting around the banks and the channels, sort of leading from the Gold Coast Bridge all the way to the Seaway. You fish the edge of the channels with worms and yabbies, but particularly late afternoon and in through the night. You get some good whiting on there, and just keep moving. You get half a dozen whiting, pull the anchor up, go another 300 metres up the channel, and drop your anchor again, and you're back into them again. They move around a bit, okay? They won't just stay in one spot forever. That's at night time. Daytime, there's been a few jewies on the end of the north wall, along the inside of the wall, with live baits and maybe big soft plastics with the long tail, like a nemesis in the 6.5 inch gulp or something like that. I'd be definitely trying on the early morning half down tide at the moment. It'll be fantastic fishing, I do think. If they're there, you might get a snapper, but you have to release it because it's not snapper closure time at the moment. That includes inside, outside, anywhere in Queensland until the 16th of August. Squid have been not too bad. The squid has sort of moved off the western foreshore a little bit and they're into the channels, in the deeper part of the channels at the moment. You need to be there in the high tide and the first day of the run out. Last half hour of the run in, the high, first day of the run out. Once the water starts to get a bit dirty, they go off the chew, but the current also gets too strong. So when there's not much current, you'll get a hot period where you might get 3 or 4 or a half a dozen really good squid, and they're quite big arrows at the moment. The bodies are quite huge, so give that a shot. Flatties are in the Broadwater. Definitely, I try around Crab Island on the run out tide in the morning. Again, great tide. I'll be fishing along the eastern side of Little Crab, along the foreshore of South Estuary, sort of from Kurrajee all the way up to Browns Bay, and then also around the Aldershots, which is a bit further north again, north of Sovereign Island. That's a good area for catching a few good flatties at the moment. I got some good sand crabs this week as well, guys, and they're quite good sized sandies. One pot I got 4 and 2 are probably still legal, but I threw them back out of one pot, so I got quite a few actually, and got a good feed. Having those tonight. So plenty of good sand crabs around the Broadwater, but overnight, it has to be overnight, okay? Try around the eastern side of Crab, eastern side of Crab's not too bad too, but eastern side of Sovereign is pretty good all the way down to pretty well the Runaway Bay Marina along that eastern channel that runs through up to Sovereign Island. Give that a go. Apart from that, in Broadwater, there's probably not much else happening, but that's enough to keep you guys going, I think. Give that a go. For the squid, one of my favourite squid jigs by far. They've got them back in stock. I think I showed this last week, but it's just such a great squid jig. It's a little eggy style from Shimano. That sort of slimy mackerel colour's really, really good. Give that a go. For my floater, I use just that Lumo one night and day. I just have that sitting on the bottom. It's a bit bigger size, the 3, and the 3 sort of sinks down a bit deeper, it's a bit heavier on the weight. Yeah, give that a go and see how you go, and good luck over the weekend. And I'll catch you next week. And don't forget to watch our YouTube channels. Doug Burt's fishing something like that. I forgot what it's called. Doug Burt's fishing page, I think it's called, or fishing channel. One of those two. Give that a go, and you'll pick up hints on there and little fishing excursions we've been doing over the last couple of months. And until next week, I'll catch you again. Thank you, it's Doug Burt from Doug Burt's Tackle World on the Gold Coast. Bye.